Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and talk us through some thoughts on doing your illustration for your children's wear project. Let me show you what I've got here. I have the poses that you guys drew. If you're happy with the bodies that you drew, we can use those. But I also have these ones that you can download. I drew these a while back just to give a few more poses for people who wanted more variety. And they are in Canvas in the children's module, and you can just download those if you want to. And I've got a bunch of reference photos. So I've got a nice variety of kids in clothes, plaid, faces and hair, more faces, more hair, and more clothes. And then this is a plaid one of you guys submitted to, and I'm going to use that as an example to figure out how to put the plaid on the garment. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to draw some denim pants. I think I'm going to try to do something like this. These are kind of baggy cargos. I saw a lot of you guys had some nice like creative denim going on with some stitching details and some extra stuff. I thought this was a nice reference photo. Now, when you look for your reference photo, I deliberately picked one that was not a child just to show you guys that you don't have to have clothes on a kid. We just need clothes on a body, and the body needs to be doing an approximate pose similar to what you want. So let's look at her. She's got her weight on her right leg. It's actually really similar to this pose. Like really similar to this pose, except he's flipped. Okay, I need to flip him over, and then I can use him as a template. So what I'm going to do is turn on my light box, and I'm going to turn him over like that, and I'm going to trace him, and then I'll have another pose that I can work from that'll be reversed. So I'm just going to start out with some plain drawing paper here, place that on top. And I'm going to take a second and I'm going to trace my kid pose onto this drawing paper. Make that a little brighter. Okay. And just in the interest of time, I'll pause the video while I trace this. All right, and you will have noticed all these curved lines that I've drawn on the kids. That's to help us get hems and edges and things looking like they're fitting on a three-dimensional body. I'll refer back to that in a minute. I lightly traced my kid, and now let me figure out how we're going to put the clothes on them. So this is where you guys, you want a reference photo. It's really going to help you make the clothes look the way you want them. And then the other thing you want to be doing is thinking about your specific clothes. Okay, so this one was submitted into the assignment asking for things to demo. And if you guys, I might have time in tomorrow's page to do another demo. So if you want something, put it in there. But if you could give me these type of reference photos, like this is what I need from you guys. And when I'm in the classroom, I walk around and people say, well, how do I draw this? And I say, show me a reference photo. And I need to see this in order to draw it. It's also helpful to see your design so that I can understand what kind of garment details you have. But I can see we've got some cute details on these jeans. That's why I picked these. I thought they might be kind of in the same sort of vibe. All right, let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and get the waist of these. It's possible that this kid is layered with a jacket on top too. That is very, very possible. I'm going to go ahead and put the crotch following the body. You guys saw on here that there is the center line that we drew when we drew the high hip pose. So I'll put the opening of the jeans kind of going on an angle like that, even though it's more subtle on her. Let's go ahead and make these a little bit baggy. And we're going to have some cool cargo pockets, and then they're going to come down and basically cover his foot down here. We're going to probably see a little bit of space between the legs. Look at, whenever you're drawing, it's really helpful to look at like the negative space between things. That'll give you a clue of what's going on. And then we're going to get this leg coming down, and this one is doing kind of a nice break at the bottom. It doesn't have to be exactly like the photo at all, guys, but seeing this helps me see, okay, where are the creases? How does the light hit this particular fabric? And that's what makes all the difference when doing your own drawings, is just getting a few key highlights and shadows in the right spot is going to make all the difference. And there's really no way to do that, whoops, without a reference photo, unless you've been drawing for many, many, many years. And even then, it's still worth having a reference photo so that you're not guessing. And also, if you guess over and over again, what happens is you're kind of not fueling your imagination, your knowledge enough to, you know, you get a little stale after a while because you start recycling the same things. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just roughing in a few of these details. Oh my gosh, she's got a pocket on the front here. I'm going to simplify. We're just going to put this one, that one. We'll let this be just kind of big and baggy. I can see the inseam running down this. A lot of times on fashion illustrations, we don't put all the seams and the stitching, but garments that need it, like denim, it's all about the stitching, right? So we are going to want to include that. I'm going to put this little zipper here because everybody always wants to know how to draw a zipper, so we'll include that. Put a little pocket here, and then we're going to have these wrinkles. I'm going to just start to pencil those in so I can see where they go. Okay, that's getting me pretty good here. I think I'm okay with that. I think before I move on, I'm going to just rough out the rest of this outfit. So let me figure out what else this little guy's wearing. I know there was a request for a chunky sweater. I'm kind of tempted just to use this one. What else did people want? I'll do a plaid pleated skirt in a minute, but you know, guys, I mean, it's just the sky's the limit. If you wanted to layer things over each other, you can definitely sort of use multiple reference images to put this stuff together. Like if I wanted to put the jacket on here, I'll put like a jacket, I can look at this reference photo to see what's happening with this jacket that's sort of falling off, and then we've got this sleeve here. Now the pose is a little bit different. I can probably still work with it. And we'll just end up getting some of these kind of shadows up inside. You know, when in doubt, give it a little rumple in places like the inner arm, because that's definitely where we're going to see some crinkling. Okay. The more time you can spend with the reference photo, the better and more realistic that type of stuff is going to look. So I'm just going to say that this jacket is sort of falling off here, and maybe we see it more on this side. Now, what I don't like is that I'm kind of guessing because I don't have a garment in mind. And for you guys, you have your garments in mind, so you know what they're going to look like. But for me, I'll just put this kind of sleeve on here, maybe like that. And I'll just get, you know, I can see there's a couple nice little shadows in there. Even though his arm is slightly different, at least it gives me something to use as a reference. All right, underneath we've got a shirt. I'm going to hold off on the sweater. I'll do it when I do the plaid skirt. I kind of like showing you guys some layering on this one. So let's say this little guy's got like a t-shirt of some sort underneath here. Please make sure you make your neck round enough. At least look at a reference photo. Okay, this one's pretty flat. I think this poor kid looks like his clothes are kind of not laying on him nicely. But look at reference photos. I want you guys to notice what angles everything makes, what shapes everything makes. Okay. I'm gonna go like this. Okay, so we'll give him that. And honestly, I think I'm gonna use some of this to help me with the way that shadow is sort of draping up inside there. And let me make this a little longer. I think it's unlikely a kid would be this tucked in. So let me just let this be, maybe it's kind of a half tuck. Again, if you're unsure, get yourself a reference photo so that you're not guessing, because we definitely are going to get a better result if you're using some references from real life. Okay, and when I say reference photos, I'm always meaning photos from real life. We don't want to be drawing from a cartoon or from some other illustrator's work. Oh, look at how nice that little one is there too. I'll see if I can capture that. Okay, I am off to a good start here. Undecided on what I'm going to do for the face, but I'm liking the clothes. I think the clothes will work. And what I can do now is two things. If I'm confident in my drawing, I can go straight to color. If I'm not confident in my drawing, I can hold off a minute and I can take a little more time and I can come in here and I can actually practice. Okay, same way we did with the green dress. you can actually come in and you can kind of practice and decide, okay, where am I going to be putting my shadows? Where am I putting my highlights? And just take your time to kind of look around and observe that garment. Notice that there's a little shadow under the flap, that there is a shadow underneath this pocket. And this is going to be in shadow. And when we look at the leg, there's a nice shadow right here. And you can work your way around and you can take a little time and shade this. Don't lose these. These look fantastic in your portfolio next to the finished illustration or behind it. It's great to have these in your portfolio. If you're confident or if you don't want to take the time to do extra shading right now, it's fine with me if you go straight to color, okay? But I'm going to just take a quick second and put a little bit of shading on here, because that way when I do the color demo, I'll be able to refer back to this, and I think it'll make a lot more sense why I'm doing what I'm doing when I get to color. Now you can take as much time as you want with this. This is going to take me a sec, so let me just focus and see if I can get enough detail in here. I'm getting better at talking while I draw, but I'm still not great at it. Definitely better if I just focus. I'm imagining this little nook right here is just kind of in shadow, the back of the jacket just kind of hanging down, so I'll just darken that up. And then with this guy, we've got a little shadow, a nice shadow, some other little shadows, and then this entire side of the arm is a little bit more in shadow. You know, if we had one like perfect reference photo that had everything on it, we would be able to really look at the light source. But as it is, we're kind of merging multiple photos. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of trying to be at least a little bit consistent with keeping my light source, in this case, slightly more to the left, which does actually seem true to both of the reference photos I'm doing. But just be aware of that. If you switch light source directions, it could be confusing. Okay. And that'll be his little pocket, just so I know what the heck I'm drawing here. Okay, and then jacket. And then maybe we're going to put some texture on his little ribbing here and here. That'll be cute. All right. Okay, that, you know, that didn't take long, and it gets me a little bit more confident before I go into my color drawing. I'm honestly not, like, I know I'm going to run into an issue when I get to this because I really didn't figure out what I'm doing here. It just kind of went a little bit off of that one. Okay. You know what? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. No, I can't, because when I look at this, I'm like, what is that? I don't know what that is. That is his jacket peeled back over his shoulder, which means I don't think we'd see it there. Okay, that helps a little bit. Okay, it is not true to the reference photo, but guys, we're going to keep going. Hang on, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to refine this. Okay, I tweaked it a little bit, but I'm not too stressed. I don't know why I picked a reference photo where this kid is wearing his jacket kind of half inside out. I'm realizing it's making for a weird illustration. Okay, so once you're at this stage, guys, we are ready for color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a fresh piece of marker paper, and I'm going to transition to color. I think I'll do that in a separate video.